What if filming took care of itself? If you were able to swim, explore, and dive while your camera followed?
Hi, I'm Ben, and this is Kevin.
Hi.
We're divers. We're into exploring, marveling at the beauty of the ocean, and bringing back memories of our underwater adventures. If you are like us, you know how cool it is to share your diving experiences with people on land. You also know how filming gets in the way of simply enjoying the moment, which is why we dive in the first place. That's why, a year ago, we had a dream. We've imagined an autonomous underwater drone that follows you during your dives. Lets you capture beautiful footage, hands-free, so you can focus on the diving. Now, ibubble is in path of becoming a reality. This camera is completely autonomous. Autonomous means that you don't have to do anything at all.
We've created and patented an underwater localization technology. It enables ibubble to know where you are and to keep you or your surroundings in the frame. Now you can record your diving adventures with no camera handling whatsoever. ibubble comes loaded with a built-in library of carefully designed camera movements. All you have to do is choose your shot from the control bracelet, and ibubble executes. The results are incredible, beautiful underwater footage from completely new perspectives. You might wonder how ibubble performs when you have, let's say, a specific close-up to shoot. Good question. You just call ibubble back with your bracelet, grab it, and film as you want. When you're done, let ibubble go and it goes right back to follow mode.
We've all dreamed of following a turtle or manta ray while it swims fast and far away. So we've enabled ibubble to do just that, all by itself.
Press the target locking button for a few seconds and ibubble will recognize the shape it needs to follow. Release it and watch as it glides by turtles and sharks, capturing what's out of your reach.
We've designed all the features in close collaboration with the diving community and professionals from the underwater world.
Mon implication dans le projet ibubble s'est faite à deux niveaux. Tout d'abord, en tant qu'apnéiste, j'ai essayé d'amener mon regard sur les besoins et les contraintes dans notre communauté. Et dans un deuxième temps, j'ai amené mon regard et ma compétence de réalisateur d'images sous-marines.
Une caméra autonome qui peut être mon œil au milieu des animaux, c'est une révolution.
It just expands hugely the type of things that I can create.
Ce sera, dans un futur plus ou moins proche, une révolution pour l'océanologie, c'est évident.
I can't wait to have my own ibubble.
Today, with the work we've done and the team we've built, we know we can make ibubble a reality. The last thing we need is your help. If we reach our goal, we'll access the resources needed to deliver ibubble next year. With more funds, we'll add even more features. So, buy ibubble today. Thank you from the entire ibubble team.
We're at the very beginning of understanding how most of our planet works. Jacques Cousteau co-developed the aqualung in the 1940s. And it wasn't until the 60s and 70s that he really showed the world with his eyes and with his lenses and with his stories of what was down there. Because we have such a short history of ocean exploration, we have a very singular idea of what that looks like. And for a lot of people, it's a big manned submersible being launched off the back of a ship. But it doesn't have to look like that.
Our goal with openrov has always been to make an exploration tool that everyone can use. The new version of openrov is the best one we've ever built. It's more maneuverable in the water. It's easier to build. You can build it more quickly, and it's a lot more durable. We want this to be a serious exploration tool. Here's how it works. On board the ROV are 6 batteries which supply voltage to it and allow it to run for about 2 hours. It has a USB web camera which sends video up to the surface via a tether. Once this signal gets up to the surface, there's a little adapter box which you can plug an Ethernet cable into, and it allows your computer's web browser to connect to the ROV. It's that simple. That extreme portability allows people to go to places that have never been explored because it's too hard to haul scuba gear there or a much larger ROV. So what we've created is something that's not only low cost and easy to build, but also something that can really get into the places that we've never seen before.
Building a small, compact, durable, capable ROV is an incredible challenge. And there's really no way that we could have done it ourselves without this big community of people to help us build it. And the cool side effect is that we've developed this whole global network of like-minded searchers. So when you plug in your ROV, you're not just plugging it into a computer, you're actually plugging into this big community of like-minded explorers.
I am so excited to see what people use the openrov for. There's so much exploration to be had out there. All you need is a laptop, the ROV, and a place to explore.
Okay, I'm dropping it. Ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
So right now I'm in a place called the Isla de las Mujeres, right next to Cancun. There's this place called the Underwater Museum, where there's a bunch of statues buried down to kind of help, the wildlife and stuff under the ocean. Normally when I review drones, they're the kind of drones that fly around in the air. Today, we have an underwater drone that films things underwater in 4K. Should be pretty interesting. So after we check out the footage, we'll take the drone apart and see what the water protection is actually like. Let's get started. One of the things that's really hard with this actually, because like with the drone you can actually see which way it's oriented in the sky, the lights on the propellers and stuff like that. With this you don't really know what direction it's going when you're in the water because there's no way to like orient yourself except for when it reaches the surface.
I gotta check this out for myself. I'm going in. Motors are locked.
Inside of the box we have the drone itself. This thing is legit. Here we have one of the vents for the propellers, so when it's sinking down it's sucking the water up and shooting it out the top of the drone. Then we have the connector here which goes to the tether into the battery pack and the signal where it stores all the information. We have the propellers in the back here, Underneath the drone, here's the propeller that brings it up and down. This is a sonar fish finder. Tells us the water temperature and finds fish down to 130 feet. And then this is a little magnet on the front. So if you have like bait or something you need to drop while fishing, you can just release this from the controller and drop the bait. In the front of the drone, we have 2 headlights, LED looks like, and then we have a 4K camera. And that camera's on a 2-axis gimbal. The tether's 225 feet and it goes into that receiver there. And then the controller is kind of like the DJI setup where you have the mount for your phone and then you have the controllers there on the side. Pretty sweet. So this thing right here is called the base station. It's actually like the Wi-Fi emitter because signals underwater don't travel. So Bluetooth and Wi-Fi just don't work underwater very far. So with the tethering cord, that's why we have that. And then this transmits Wi-Fi into the controller just like the DJI controller does. Data storage for like the footage and things, that's all stored inside the drone with internal storage. So there's no removable SD card slot. What makes sense though, because the whole thing is waterproof instead of water resistant. So having the SD card slot would have been really inconvenient as far as waterproofing that goes. One of the hugest perks about this whole setup though is that the charging port, which is also the same thing for the tether, the battery inside of this thing can last for 2 hours. Imagine a drone in the sky being able to last that long. Probably one of the reasons the battery lasts so long is that the water's holding most of the weight of the drone and it doesn't need to like support itself in the sky. And the propellers are pretty small. Okay, I'm dropping it. Ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
When you're flying the drone, you can't go left and right to circle around something. You can only go forward and back and then like twist the front left and right. So it's a little bit different than flying in the air. So it does make things a little bit harder to control, but it's not too bad. This thing lights up blue, but like I was explaining earlier, like it doesn't really orient yourself when you're in the water because you literally can't see it. So basically you're just looking around you in the water. Maybe you can find the bottom of the boat you're in, but it's really hard to tell like distance and stuff when you're flying this underwater. So now that we've seen what this can do and we've explored the outside of it, you know it's time to explore the inside. Let's take this thing apart and see what makes it so waterproof.
One thing to remember as we take apart this power array is that it's waterproof to 30 meters, or 98 feet depending on what part of the world you're diving in. Water-resistant cell phones like the iPhone or the Galaxy phones are only water-resistant to 1 or 1.5 meters. That's a huge difference. It'll be interesting to see what's inside. There are 7 screws holding down the exterior plastics. These are mostly for decoration and physical protection, since there's no waterproofing around the exterior edges. It'll unsnap from the lower body, exposing the more important components. There are some weights attached to the lower shell. This might be to keep it oriented in the water, bottom side down, or it might also be because this is a pre-production unit that isn't quite finished. There is a final version for sale on Amazon today already, and I'll link that in the description, but this one's just a functional prototype. The 3 different propellers are now exposed. All of the motors are concealed inside the watertight black plastic housing. The other side of the white shell can also pull away from the watertight internals, and now it's definitely looking more like a submarine than a drone. There are a total of 46 hexagonal 2.0 screws holding the 2 plastic halves together. After all those screws are out, the top half can lift away. There's still wires attached to that top tethering point. As far as waterproofing goes, a thick green rubber ring surrounds the entire outer lip of the power array. That rubber gets smashed by the 46 screws around the edge, keeping all the water from ingressing. There's also a shiny grease covering that outer lip as well. Water and oily substances don't mix, so there's multiple waterproofing barriers at work here. There are 4 screws holding down the main board to the plastic body, and this would be a good time to mention that anytime you take something waterproof or water resistant apart, it'll never be water resistant again until it's resealed. So with this particular project, I don't plan on reassembling this drone since it's already been compromised. I'll just keep it for parts. I unplugged a few of the signal cables. Interestingly enough, there's an Ethernet port on the motherboard. That explains the long tether and how that signal works. I've never seen that inside of a drone before. There are a few more plugs leading off for the fish finders and front camera, and then the whole motherboard lifts off, exposing the battery. Now this is pretty interesting. The battery that's held in place by the 4 smaller hexagonal 1.5 screws is the same battery that fits inside the Power Egg, an aerial drone made by the same company. Inside the underwater drone, the battery is not removable, but inside the Power Egg, it is. It's smart. Using the same battery across multiple products saves a lot of money. All 3 of the propellers have black wires connecting to the small circuit board in the front. right next to that 4K camera and the front LED headlights. The drone is already pretty sweet, but if I could add one more thing, it would be the ability to float sideways instead of just forward and backward. It would require adding additional motors, but it would be nice to have more control while filming. It was super fun to take apart something that's actually waterproof. The waterproofing on this PowerA is pretty intense, and I think it's time to go wash my hands. I'll toss a link in the video description with current pricing for this thing. Whether it's just for fun or actual industrial underwater inspections, it's a pretty useful little tool. Thanks a ton for watching, and I'll see you around.
We know more about the moon than the ocean. Why haven't we explored more? It's certainly not a lack of curiosity. Perhaps the right tool simply didn't exist. Until now. Introducing the Blue Eye Pioneer underwater drone, developed in Norway. Designed for optimal performance in all conditions, from the Arctic Ocean to tropical waters. It moves with total stability, and our auto-control features make the Pioneer extremely easy to operate, even for first-time users. That's because we want to make the ocean accessible for everyone, everywhere. Our goal is to inspire curiosity by providing the world with an eye underwater. Our digital mask will enhance your diving experience even further. The camera captures beautiful HD footage, even in the darkness of the deep sea, thanks to its powerful LED headlight. This is the result of passion for the ocean, combined with world-leading expertise in software, design, and Norwegian ocean technology. The Blue Eye Pioneer can dive down to the incredible depth of 150 meters, all the while providing you with a steady live video directly to your device. With more than 2 hours battery time, the Pioneer can be applied to a broad spectrum of use cases, for both consumers and professionals. The possibilities are virtually endless. Our mission is clear: to make underwater exploration available to everyone.